What would it be like to meet a real samurai? Really? So you could both of you could go back in time, or, to meet them outside of time and space, and language was not a problem. What would it actually be like? My name's Anthony Cummins. I'm going to take you through this. If you want to know more about the samurai, you want to be reading the Book of Bushido. If you want to know about the ninja, get the Book of Ninja. And if you want to know about military tactics, get the Art of War. Now, I was on Viking Samurai's podcast the other day, and I said, basically, meeting a samurai today would be like meeting a terrorist, a modern terrorist. And somebody asked me a question about that, and they've asked, can I, give more of an answer for this? So unless I've probably just been shadow banned for using the T word, let's go. So they were like, Anthony, hold on a minute, that's a bit of a strange scene, samurai, the honourable samurai. Why would it be like meeting, a sort of freedom fighter? Let's call them freedom fighters, right? Freedom fighter. Well, the simple fact is imagine someone who's been brought up since childhood with permission to kill, okay? Not only that, they probably killed multiple people from child. So you're talking a really warped child brain setup, if you know what I mean. From the age of 5 to 10, they've been taken to, you capture stray dogs and you get them to behead stray dogs. They could then, most likely, at some point, allowed to be testing on criminals. Maybe not every samurai, but we're talking about the samurais we're talking about, and not those bureaucratic ones or the princely ones. We're talking about full-on, battle-hardened, front-line, you're going to go to war, hard as nails, which not all samurai were, but you're on the front line, you're going to do it. So first of all, they've killed people from a young age, and they've been taught that, see that clan over the hill over there? We hate them. Why do you hate them, Dad? Doesn't matter. We hate them. They killed your great-great-great-grandfather. Anyone who associates with that clan, we're going to fight them. Or they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to nick the neighbour's land. Well, why? Because we're getting bigger and we're getting a bigger family, so we need more land. Or we're going to go to war, son. Okay, you're 14 now. You've been killing dogs. You've been executing criminals. You've been the executioner for the local village, thingy or whatever. We're now going to go to war. You're 14. You're a man. Let's go to war. Okay, what have they done to us? That question wouldn't even come. But nowadays, it's like, why do we go to war? It's got to be a just war. We're going to war because we want to steal their land. But that's thievery. No, that's war. Don't steal. But I thought we're stealing their land. No, we're taking their land as part of our thingy. So you see what I mean? So you got someone there. Everyone below them is bowing and scraping. They can't just outright kill everyone. That's a falsehood. But they can kill if needs be. And with very, they need almost intangible reason to kill. But they do need to follow the law. But on the whole, they can do night attacks. They probably will have murdered someone occasionally. You know what I mean? So you're looking at that. And then you teach them fire, explosives. You teach them how to burn villages down. You teach them possibly out of torture. And you will teach them all of these types of things. Rope binding, capture, cutting people's heads off with just a knife. You know what I mean? When you see they're all got their masks on, the freedom fighters, they're cutting people's heads off with a knife. Samurai sword heads off, like that's exactly how they did it. This idea of everybody standing precisely. No, we know they would bind them up from the back. Not many people want to sit there and go, yes, please take this off. They will fight you. So you've got to crack them, smashing them in the ground, and then you're going to be cutting it off like that. And you're going to be like, ugh. Then you put it on a pole and display in your local village and all that. So when I said meeting a real samurai would be like meeting a freedom fighter, then it's not far from the truth. And if you imagine you were the target of that person, so somebody who will relentlessly come for you, whose honour or religious belief is a difficult thing to say, because basically their lifestyle choice belief, they believe you are their enemy. Even if you haven't done anything, you're their enemy. They're coming for you, and they're going to use any means, burning your house down, capturing your family, killing your family, finding you in the roads and the highways, breaking into your house, dragging you out of it, burning it down around you, killing your family as well. That's who you're facing. Now, they're not just going to do that to anyone. You're going to have to, there's going to be a reason that you're the target. But of course, later samurai probably were not like this. There was lots of, once it gets into town samurai, it changes. But you're talking about medieval people, 1400s, who are young, well-trained, aggressive. We have permission to go and be aggressive. The society says, go and take that land over the hill, because if you do, you're good. And off you go. And you can skin faces, burn people alive. It doesn't matter how you do it, go and do it. If you put all of those in a list, decapitation via sawing, immolation, torture, restraint, not personal restraint, restraining other people, hunter killing, espionage activities, spycraft, going under the radar of possibly the government if you need to. They are all, if you just say them like that, freedom fighter. They're all freedom fighter actions. So when I say meeting a samurai would be like meeting a freedom fighter, actually, you're not far off the mark. Except for, the only difference being is the samurai are held together by a loosely, single culture. Now, that doesn't mean, we always see, the problem is you always see it from the Western point of view. When we see freedom fighters, basically we imagine them coming to our lands and doing things, but they do it in their own lands too. You know what I mean? There isn't just one Muslim sort of like, ideal. There's not just Irish terrorists, you know what I mean? They're sort of like, they do it to each other. So go to Ireland in the 1980s, the Catholics and the Protestants, people talk about Middle Eastern terrorism. For England, maybe not America, but for England, the big terrorists were the Irish. For a full generation or two, it was the Irish. Nobody cared. It wasn't until the 80s, 90s that you started to care about the Middle East. It was like, he's Irish, he's got an Irish accent, who's he going to blow up? Do you know what I mean? So that's the problem. So guys, when I say stuff like that, you've got to really put your head in how violent and dangerous samurai life was, just because it's got this lovely little veneer of like, well, look at this art, look at this tea ceremony, smell this tea, and what do you think? Let's have a tea guessing game, or let's play cards and have fun with some card games and stuff like that. Below that surface, you don't have to dig far in history. It's a very, very violent culture with very well trained people whose only aim in life is to take the enemy stronghold. And if you're that enemy, that's who you're meeting. So imagine somebody who you're in a pub arguing with, and you start an argument with it. It's not just, they're probably going to draw a sword, decapitate you at some point. And that is not me over exaggerating. Samurai manuals, Book of Samurai, is all about like, do not get drunk, do not have your sword on you if you're in like a party. If it starts going wrong, put an intermediary between you, because the moment one of you draws that sword, you've got to go. It's very, very rare. You've got to go or deeply apologise. I'm sorry, I'm putting my sword away. I apologise, I was in the wrong. But samurai don't do that. And they're 14-year-old and drunk. There you go. That's who you're meeting. Right, guys, hope you enjoyed that. Get yourself a copy of my books at the back. Enjoy it. And subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments below.